Hey guys, welcome back to Digger Gaming. My name's Ben. Today we're going to be looking at the VSS Vintorez, the Russian weird-looking sniper rifle. It's pretty popular in games and stuff, but not much is known about it. So yeah, we'll have a look at this. It's a 9x39mm round, subsonic. It's a sniper rifle, but doesn't have a lot of range on it, so it's a strange sort of a weapon. Yeah, if you like the videos, please subscribe and like. We're trying to get more subs so we can get some more content out there and get the YouTube monetized. Without any further ado, let's have a look at this video. Alright guys, as always, I forgot to mention the original video is Task and Purpose with Chris Cappy. I'll put the original video down below. Yeah, let's get started.
Hey guys, welcome back to Task and Purpose. I'm your average infantryman, Chris Cappy. The Russian VSS Vintorez is the one bizarre infantry weapon in their entire military arsenal that has zero equivalent in the...
Okay, so it is bizarre. Subsonic, meaning it doesn't break the speed of sound. Integrally suppressed, meaning we've got a big suppressor on here. I'm not sure what the effective range is, but I know it does have... It can pierce body armor due to the... It's a big heavy round rather than a sort of flatter, skinnier rifle round. Yeah.
The US Army. It's a highly specialized weapon that was once reserved for Moscow's elite spetnaz troops. This is a sneaky ninja of a weapon. On May 16, 2015, the Ukrainian military actually captured and wounded 2 Russian soldiers who, well, they claimed they'd been discharged already and that they had no affiliation with the Russian military anymore. But the Ukrainian investigators dug a little deeper and they found out that these were actually troops that were
Let's have a look at this quickly. Go back a little.
The GRU special purpose units. During their fire, troops that were part of the GRU.
Okay, so sniper with detected 20 meters distance from the state border. Yep, so it doesn't have a very long range.
Troops that were part of the GRU special purpose units. During their firefight, they were captured and 1 Ukrainian soldier was KIA and 2 were wounded. So they want us to believe they were just there on war vacation, right? These Russian soldiers were captured using the VSS Vintorez. That's what they had on them. Of course, as seen in this picture of a Ukrainian military commander showing off the captured weapon. So what?
Well, it'd be a pretty good weapon to capture. From my understanding, it would be probably be a good weapon for a, yeah, as I said, a special forces team that's moving through at a village. They've got a bit of range on it, maybe for a spotter or something. I don't know.
Why did they choose this strange rifle for
Doesn't really fit into Western
doctrine.
doctrine.
Is the Russian military the only ones in the entire world that include this type of weapon in their platoons since the 1980s? We're going to analyze all of this. It's an easily identifiable gun with a strange silhouette, thanks to its uncanny thick barrel. So it's designated the VSS as a marksman rifle, even though VSS stands for Special Sniper Rifle. So is it a sniper rifle or not, Russia? What's going on here? To be honest, I can already think of a dozen problems that would come up with having this type of weapon, including it having no range and no stopping power. Maybe finding out where the VSS came from will help shed some light on this weapon.
I mean, I know you can get extended magazines for it, I think. I think it has automatic capability, but it's a strange sort of weapon. You wouldn't want to be carrying it every day, and you wouldn't want to be carrying it as an everyday sniper rifle either. It's a very specific niche role, I'd say.
System. So the weapon began development in the early 1980s in the Soviet Union, partly at the Tashmash Central Institute for Precision Machine Building. Even its origins are shrouded in mystery because it was developed and influenced by the legendary Russian spetnaz units. Now the spetnaz had another option in their arsenal, the Dragunov sniper rifle, which is a great sniper rifle, but it wasn't suppressed. So you could see how the spetnaz didn't really vibe with that. Basically,
it's weird how they would go from a 7.62 to a 9x39mm rifle. Completely different. We do have some subsonic rounds that I think LEO probably will start to use in 300 Blackout. Can switch over AR-15s pretty easily. From my understanding, what's so good about that is the fact that it can penetrate body armor, be quite a fatal round, but also not go through that person and through the wall into potential civilians. The Russians don't seem to care too much about that, so it'd be interesting to see their reasoning behind it.
In the 1960s, Russian SF wanted a weapon that could fire beyond 300 meters accurately and quietly, so Russian special ops wanted something that could fill the gap and keep things quiet for clandestine operations. The VSS would be manufactured at the famous Tola Arms plant, along with its sister rifle, the AS Val, which has 70 to 75% of its parts in.
Yeah, so I thought these were the same rifles. Maybe the AS Val is more of the combat rifle. This is more of the DMR sort of rifle. Look very similar apart from the stock and the sight, to be honest. And obviously the magazine. But
in common with the Vintorez. For that reason, I'll be showing both weapons in this video kind of interchangeably. The designers, Petrov Serdyovkyov and Vladimir Krasnikov, worked with spetnaz soldiers to design the VSS and AS Val. The weapon's creator had this to say about it, quote, both passed their baptism of fire during Chechnya campaigns. The name Vintorez comes from the code name it was given in development to try to fool us pesky Westerners. Translated, it means thread cutter. The code name stuck and basically became its nickname. Typical of Russian design, you can clearly see it was modeled off the AK pattern. The weapon had a lot of issues in the development phase though. For instance, they couldn't get the rifle to be quiet enough. They thought just using subsonic ammo alone would work. However, the accuracy...
You can't see very well here, but the integral suppressor here just screws on, but there is little like washers that go down the barrel the bullet will pass through. There's not a great deal of suppressors, the little washer things that quieten the round down in the rifles, which I think has been updated recently.
Accuracy and range was extremely flawed when they did that. They also tried using a meter-long suppressor with subsonic ammo, but they couldn't get the round itself to be quiet.
Have a quick look at this. So 9x39, 20 rounds, gas operated, PSO telescopic, you can have night vision on there, effective range. So it's 300 meters, which is, you know, what we'd be pushing out with a Styro or an M4 or something. Maximum with the PSO is 400 meters. Strange weapon.
The shooter would remain hidden, but enemies downrange would hear the crack of the round go past. This was no good for covert ops. Even worse, after the developers made some progress, the whole Soviet military switched to the 545mm round, and they wanted the Vintorez to be able to fire that too. So the developers had to go back and rethink everything. There was even a prototype testing in the Soviet-Afghanistan war that turned out to be a giant flop. I think what finally cracked the case for them was figuring out the right type of heavier bullet to use in the ammunition that allowed them to get all the right capabilities into this system. I think you can actually argue the Soviets had a real edge over NATO in the 1980s in the area of purpose-built suppressed sniper rifles. The Soviet military wanted to be able to take out more well-equipped NATO soldiers who had better helmets and body armor. They wanted to offset the technological advantage of their adversaries. It was originally intended for use by the KGB. In fact, it was made in direct response to the fact that NATO forces were increasingly starting to use Kevlar body armor, and Russian SF teams actually directly requested from the military that they create a silent weapon that was able to penetrate their enemy's armor while at the same time...
I mean, it would be good for that, but if you got stuck in a longer range engagement, you'd be buggered, I suppose. I suppose it's for those commandos type units, direct action
giving
stuff.
them a high rate of fire for any possible scenario that they might encounter in a covert infiltration operation. Before the VSS was in service, spetnaz, which stands for Special Purpose Military Units, were relying on a suppressed AK-74 or suppressed AKMs. But this method of repurposing weapons that were already in their arsenal meant that they needed to fire a special subsonic ammo. This subsonic ammo was only accurate to 200 meters, and to make matters worse, they specifically modified AKs could only fire 200 rounds before the wear and tear meant that the rubber baffles inside the suppressors needed to be replaced. As a brief explanation, subsonic ammunition is modified ammo that flies slower than the speed of sound. Ammo flying faster than the speed.
See if we can go back there just a little.
Be replaced. As a brief.
So you can see here, these are the baffles here, just a round passes through. I know if you watch Brandon Herrera, the AK guy, he put a parts kit together with one of these, but made the suppressor have a lot more baffles, and it was super quiet with the subsonic ammo. You can see too how chunky the rounds are. It's that 9mm by 39. Yeah, looks like a pistol rifle round hybrid.
Brief explanation. Subsonic ammunition is modified ammo that flies slower than the speed of sound. Ammo flying faster than the speed of sound, or supersonic, breaks the sound barrier and makes a loud crack. When you slow down your ammo to subsonic ranges, you make your bullets less noisy. But what are its specifications, and how do Russian soldiers use the weapons in combat? They drilled 4 rows of 9 holes into the 7.9-inch barrel that's suppressed, which follows the rifling and allows gas to escape the barrel behind the projectile. The muzzle report is as low as 130 dB.
That's very quiet. So the AS Val seems to be more like a special forces sort of rifle. The VSS Vintorez, I'm not sure where you'd fit that into any Orbat or, yeah.
Far it's louder than that. The rifle used a similar long stroke gas system, and the piston is located above the barrel. Unlike AKs though, this rifle had its fire selector behind the trigger. And much of the VSS's internal mechanisms are different, as it makes use of a 6-lug rotating bolt. It also has no muzzle flash. But the true magic of the weapon comes down to its ammo, the long 9x39mm subsonic round. The 9x39 cartridge is a large bullet. When most people think of 9mm, they think of pistol caliber bullets, but most of those are around 9.
You can see it's got the same chunkiness, it just doesn't have the short little pistol round.
9x19 or 9x18. The VSS cartridge is the same length as the typical 7.62x39mm AK rifle cartridge, only wider at 9mm. So think of this bullet as a scaled up AK bullet. The large size of this bullet helps it be subsonic by default, but still retain a great amount of energy on target. The round can penetrate 6mm of steel at 100 meters
that
distance,
guy has
and has an effective range of 400
secondary
meters
weapon
against the 6B2 soft flak jackets, which were the most popular body armor of the mid-1980s. This weapon's max range might be 400 meters, but its sweet spot is really in the 300-meter range. For some comparison, your regular sniper rifles are able to hit targets at 800 meters and beyond. It weighs a glorious 5.
And that, you can get, I think, up to 2,000 meters you can hit with a a normal rifled sniper rifle. This sort of very close up.
0.73 pounds, which is a full 2 pounds lighter than the M4.
Very fast.
Its overall
RPM
length is only 35.2 inches. The muzzle velocity is of course low at 925 feet per second. What are the Russian infantry tactics and doctrine that go along with this weapon? It's been used extensively in urban environments because it's compact, semi-auto, and large magazine capacity of 20 rounds, which is a lot for a sniper rifle. Russian soldiers are able to use it and almost fight like any other rifleman. It was first used in the final days of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan during the 1980s, where it was first combat tested. It was
I'm gonna say it wouldn't have went too well in Afghanistan, considering the engagement distances known there, but
later used in the Chechen War, where it really earned its stellar reputation. By the year 1993, these weapons were still incredibly rare in the Russian military. A Russian reconnaissance officer said, quote, "The VSSS were mostly in the GRU Special Forces brigades, and then in very limited numbers, and knowing about the capabilities of these silent trunks, no one wanted to share." So that was roughly translated from Russian to English, but I think the gist of what the Russian officer was saying there is that these weapons were hard to come by. Turns out it's not just the Russian military that uses it though. The weapon is also used by the SBU Alpha group of the Ukrainian military. The SBU in Ukraine is an elite special operations unit that was actually originally created by the KGB, but now of course fights against Russia today. The Indian Marine Commandos are also outfitted with this weapon. It has been used by the Russian mafia to assassinate mobster Alsan Osan. On the 16th of January in 2013, he was leaving.
Kind of sounds like the Tommy gun for the Soviets.
His restaurant, which was also his office, with his bodyguards. The Russian sniper was on the 6th floor of a nearby apartment building. He fired 6 shots and found his mark. This leads me perfect.
I guess that's where you're going to be a lot closer to your target, but you're going to have that suppression and the muzzle flash isn't going to be there. So you probably, you know, if you set yourself up right, you're probably going to get out of there, I guess.
To this quote by the spetnaz, it's the perfect weapon for black ops. It's designated for one-shot, one-kill situations, but it also works well if things go south and you need to use its rapid-fire abilities. I think the reason the US military doesn't have a similar weapon for rank-and-file troops is because they felt the M4 with the 5.56 was close enough of a solution to what the VSS is. And it has extra rounds. The US military and NATO are laser focused on not adding new types of ammo to their logistics train. This would have to complicate supply by adding a whole new ammo type, and it would only be for a very narrow mission set. It has, however, had a newer version of it built called the VSS-M. The M stands for Modernized. At a glance, the VSS-M looks different, although it keeps the same features. Picatinny rail mounts along the suppressor are also there to now allow for lights, sights, and lasers. This rifle is also more reliable. The most cutting-edge new feature is the new optic.
Alright guys, so what do you think of the VSS Vintorez and the AS Val? I think maybe the AS Val would be probably better for use by our special forces and direct action sort of stuff, where you want to be quiet, reconnaissance maybe. As far as a sniper, it seems a bit strange. As I said, it doesn't have that distance, but does have that the suppressor on it to make it a lot quieter, and also no muzzle flash. So I don't think it would fit in a Western army. I'd like to know more about how it is used in Russian special forces and Ukrainian special forces. If you want to know more about the weapon itself, Brandon Herrera does a good video, which I'll post in the description as well, on the Vintorez. So yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.